Sometimes it takes one brutal text message to finally see who your family really is and what you let them turn you into. I had just spent 3 months planning a $9,400 family trip to Japan for my dad's 60th birthday when the text came through. A message so casual it felt like a slap delivered with a smile. We gave your spot to Kevin's girlfriend. She's more fun. Just like that. No apology. No explanation. No hesitation. My mother sent it like she wasn't tossing my time, my money, and my effort straight into the trash. Like replacing me was as simple as crossing out one name and writing another. I stare at the screen, the blinking dots taunting me, promising more cruelty if she felt like sending it. But nothing followed. That was it. My reply was as short as their consideration. Got it. And I meant it. Because that was the night I did the thing nobody in my family thought I was capable of. I canceled the entire trip. Flights, hotels, bullet train passes, restaurant reservations, thousands of dollars in bookings, non-refundable. Didn't care. I paid for it. I could end it. Then I went home and changed the locks. The house was in my name anyway. They'd been living there rent-free for 5 years, treating me like the live-in ATM they never had to thank. So when they returned from the airport, exhausted and smug, they found a different world waiting for them. Their keys didn't work. The rent had tripled, and their cards declined at a coffee shop before they even tried come home. But all of that was just the fallout. To understand why I went nuclear, you have to rewind. Back to the moment I let myself believe that being a good son would ever be enough. Dad was turning 60, a milestone, a big one. And I thought, what better gift than a family trip to Japan? He'd always talked about seeing cherry blossoms in Kyoto before his knees gave out. Mom ate sushi like it was her second religion. And Kevin, my younger brother, the golden child, kept saying he dreamed of trying real ramen, not the instant garbage he lived on. So I did the thing everyone warned me not to do. I paid for everything. $9,400 in total. Flights, hotels, upgrades, bullet train passes, carefully planned itineraries wedged between my work deadlines, weekend after weekend comparing hotel locations, ticket prices, shrine schedules. I even upgraded their flights to premium economy. Mine? Budget seat, small room in Osaka, because I thought that's what love meant, putting yourself last. But Kevin has a special talent. He always finds a way to remind me who I am in this family. Not the favorite, not the fun one, just the guy who pays. So when the text came in, she's more fun, I didn't feel shock. I felt clarity. And clarity in the hands of someone who's been used their whole life is dangerous. My parents never asked me to pay for anything directly. They preferred guilt, soft, subtle, suffocating. Kevin's trying his best. It's just harder for young people these days. You're lucky to have a stable job. Not everyone has that. We're so proud of you. If only Kevin had your work ethic. And like an idiot, I helped. I covered Kevin's tuition, books, his laptop when his old one mysteriously died 2 weeks before finals. After graduation, he didn't work, didn't apply, didn't plan to. He was figuring things out. On my couch, in my house, eating food I paid for. Dad sat behind his iPad, muttering, "Let the boy breathe," like I was strangling him instead of supporting him. Then came Madison, or Mads, as she insisted. She moved in after 2 months. No rent, no talk, just appeared. She took over my kitchen, my Wi-Fi, my Netflix profile. One night, I found her wearing my dress shoes for a TikTok video. "I'm doing a character," she said. "Don't be weird." Kevin laughed. "Dude, relax." She's funny. Funny. That word would haunt me. Still, I stayed quiet. Because family. Because keeping the peace. Because you make more than enough. Even when Kevin lost a job, I helped him get. Showing up late 3 times his first week. I paid his car note so he wouldn't ruin his credit. When Madison totaled her sedan, I co-signed a used Mazda for her. Stupid? Absolutely. But when they said they wanted to join the Japan trip, I didn't hesitate. I reshuffled everything. More rooms, new reservations, different PTO dates. And what did I get? We gave your spot to Kevin's girlfriend. She's more fun. That wasn't an insult. It was confirmation. Evidence. Proof of something I had always known. In my family, I wasn't loved. I was useful. A walking wallet with a pulse. And the worst part? I let it happen. The next morning after they landed in Tokyo, Kevin texted, "Yo, can you wire us some spending money? Mads forgot her card and Dad says exchange rates suck." I didn't reply. An hour later, "Come on, man, don't be salty. This is supposed to be about Dad, not you." I nearly threw my phone. They'd taken my spot, my vacation, my moment, and still they wanted more. But I stayed silent until day 5. That's when the call came from the hotel. "Mr. Adams, your car was declined, and there seems to be an unauthorized guest added to the suite." Ah, so that's how they did it. They swapped me for Madison and used my card. That was the moment everything changed. Not the insult, not the money, not even the birthday. It was the assumption that I would take it, that I always would, that I existed to be used. So I shut it down. I flagged the charges, canceled the card, called the hotel back, and told them to remove all guests. "They're still in the room," the manager said. "I'm aware," I replied. "They'll manage." And when they finally came home, furious, broke, humiliated, they found every piece of furniture they used and lounged on gone, donated, removed, erased. When they pounded on the door, screaming, demanding answers, I took my time, sipped my coffee, walked to the peephole. Kevin's face was red. Madison was barefoot for some reason. Mom looked like she'd aged 10 years. "What happened to our keys?" Kevin barked. "Oh, those." I said, "I had them recut. They don't work anymore. You can't do this." Madison snapped. "You're not my family." I said calmly, "Why would I let you in?" They protested. They yelled. They tried to guilt trip me back into my role. But I was done, really done. "You were my brother," I told Kevin, "and you traded me for entertainment value." Then I closed the door and locked it. 3 days. That's how long it took for the real chaos to begin after they returned. The house was quiet the first morning. Too quiet. And that's where everything truly started to unravel. I expected yelling, guilt trips, maybe a flood of messages in the family group chat demanding explanations. But instead, nothing. The silence was almost unsettling. I had breakfast alone, coffee, a warm croissant, and an odd, satisfying sense of peace. Not the kind of silence you hear, but the kind you feel, the kind that lives inside your chest like a new room you didn't know you had. By day 4, my phone finally lit up. "Can we talk?" "Mom, I'm sorry about what happened. We all made mistakes. Please don't do this to your father." I didn't respond, not because I lacked words, but because I didn't owe them any. For the first time in my life, I felt no obligation to justify myself to people who never listened in the first place. That's when the real fallout began. The cards were blocked. Madison tried to buy a coffee downtown, declined twice. I got the push notification and smiled. She posted a story. Some people are just vindictive, then deleted it 5 minutes later. A week after the new lease kicked in, triple the old rent, I got an email. "Hi, we're struggling with the new rent. Could we discuss alternatives?" No name, just the family account. I ignored it. Kevin, who'd spent years lounging in my house like a house pet with better Wi-Fi, suddenly started picking up part-time gigs. A friend at the gym told me Kevin was folding towels at the front desk. I didn't feel pity. I moved into a small loft downtown. Concrete floors, tall windows, minimalist everything. No family clutter. No borrowed shoes in the hallway. No half-eaten leftovers that weren't mine. I woke up at 7. hit the gym, worked from home, took evening walks. And for the first time in years, every moment, every dollar, every breath belonged to me. No text asking for grocery money. No, just a little help till payday. No guilt-laced phone calls from mom. It's your brother. How can you say no? Just quiet. In week 2, Kevin finally texted. I know I messed up. I really do. Mads left. She said she didn't sign up for this. I get it now. You were right. I stared at it for a long time. This was the same Kevin who laughed at my plans, called me too serious, said I didn't know how to have fun. Now he was alone, abandoned by the fun girlfriend, forced to face life without his human credit card. I didn't reply. Then the real bomb dropped. A letter from a lawyer. Your parents are claiming partial ownership of the house. My attorney broke it down. Based on alleged financial contributions over the years, we've requested proof. So far, nothing. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was absurd enough to be comical. They always believed that if I owned something, they had a right to it. I remembered my mother's line. This is a family home, sweetheart. What's yours is ours. But now ours meant nothing. Mom sent another message. We didn't raise you to be like this. What would Dad think? I finally replied, you raised me to serve you. That ends now. What shocked me most wasn't their anger. It was how quickly they fell apart without me. Kevin was working 10-hour shifts. Mom was calling old friends, the same ones she used to mock for having ungrateful children. Dad stayed silent, as always. His loyalty was to neutrality. He never yelled, never interfered, never defended anyone. He simply watched. And now, they were living in the world they built. One where I didn't exist to fix everything. Meanwhile, I sat on a new couch in a quiet apartment, drinking coffee no one criticized, surrounded by things I chose. For the first time, I wasn't being used. For the first time, I wasn't obligated to show up for people who never showed up for me. And for the first time, I wasn't angry. I was free. I was never the problem. I was the solution they abused. 3 months passed after I pulled the plug. No more free rent. No more brotherly bailouts. No more pretending that family meant love instead of leverage. I thought I'd feel guilt, maybe grief, maybe loneliness. But I felt something stronger, peace. I woke up without dread, without bracing for the next request disguised as family. I didn't flinch when my phone buzzed. I didn't tense waiting for guilt to arrive. I felt like I'd stepped out of fog. A week ago, while unpacking, I found an old box labeled family stuff. Inside were photos, birthday cards, and a folder of receipts, airline tickets, hotel confirmations, all of them under my name. Every family memory built on my credit card. They said I was cold, but I was the one who kept the lights on. I flipped through the photos. In every one, I was smiling, driving, paying, planning. Everyone else? Relaxed, carefree, passengers in a car they never had to steer. I used to think that made me strong. Now I see it made me invisible. What they loved wasn't me. It was my usefulness. And when I stopped being useful, they stopped being loving. Kevin hasn't messaged since Madison left. I heard he moved into a basement apartment and started delivering food. And for once, I didn't feel superior. I felt nothing, because his life is finally his responsibility. Madison scrubbed her socials clean, deleted old photos, unfollowed everyone. Her fun ran out when the free lifestyle did. Mom sent one last text. We didn't raise you to be like this. We miss who you used to be. I answered, you missed a version of me who never said no. He's gone. Dad stayed silent. Of course he did. That was his specialty, polite, quiet complicity. I stopped expecting closure from them, so I gave it to myself. One night, I sat alone with a glass of wine, watching apartment windows light up across the city. For once, the quiet didn't feel empty. It felt earned. I wrote something on a sticky note and put on my mirror I owe no one more than I owe myself. Every morning since, I read it like a prayer. Funny thing, the people who once drained me now call me distant. They say I changed, and they're right. I used to be the bridge they walked on. Now I'm the ocean they can't cross. A few days ago, Kevin's ex, Lisa, messaged me. You were the only one who saw through it. The way they treated you, it was wrong. I'm glad you left. You saved yourself. It hit harder than it should have, because I'd started to wonder if maybe I was the problem. But Lisa reminded me I wasn't crazy. I was just the first one to wake up. I used to think walking away was selfish. Now I know it's survival. They call me cruel. I call it clarity. They call me heartless. I call it healing. They call me selfish. But only after I stop being theirs. Next week, I'm flying to Iceland. A solo trip. I've always wanted to see the northern lights, but there was always someone else's crisis, someone else's drama, someone else's trip I was paying for. Not anymore. This time, I'm going for me. And when I'm standing under that glowing sky and the freezing air, thousands of miles away from everything I used to carry, I'll finally say it out loud. I am not your safety net. I am not your plan B. I am not your bank, your backup, or your fool. I am me. And for the first time in my life, that's enough.